Hi there. My name is Scott Marker, and this is another episode of Treasure Valley Quick Tips. And what they are about is I am a franchise owner of a network and action franchise here in the Treasure Valley, Idaho. And I have three groups, and it's just I get to meet and talk to really high caliber local business owners, and that's where this podcast came from. Actually, is I thought I want to share that information because it's the more you talk to people that are experts in their field, the more you understand that you really don't have a clue because you don't live that world every day. So today's a perfect example. I brought on a local business owner. Sandra, introduce yourself.
Hi, Scott. My name is Sandra, and I am a co-owner of Hawaiian Built Roofing here in Boise, Idaho. We've been in business 19 years this month. We're very excited about that. Thank you for having me, Scott. I appreciate it.
Congratulations too on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So perfect. Yeah. When it comes to roofing, it's like a lot of things. Roofing actually, in the last 10 years here in the Treasure Valley, there's really been a lot of bad, I don't want to get negative, but just we'll keep it, but just a lot of maybe companies that come here and go door to door knocking and talk about, hey, we're going to check your roof out. And then maybe the people aren't trained, they're 1099s and stuff like that. So that's actually, and that part of the reason I'm bringing on is it's really kind of put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths for roofing companies, right? So I bring on people like you because I know you and I met your team and you just class acts. And then also I noticed that you're at 109 5-star reviews now.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. So what makes Hawaiian Built Roofing and your team different, or just like someone that people should consider first?
Well, we've always been an in-house type of company, and that is important to the homeowner because when we get a job and we sell a job, there is no subbing the job out to find the cheapest vendor to come in and do the work. We're very lucky because we've had a journeyman roofer, my husband, for many years on our crew. And so we've always done our own work from the beginning to end. And so it makes a big difference in not only in the quality of the roofs that we're putting on, we're also very picky as to what shingles we actually use on the customer's home. There's so many different types of shingles out there, 30 or 40 or 50 or 50 year plus luxury. And the shingle is only as good as it's installed. So it's super important to have a company, not only that they are certified with the manufacturers to be able to offer roofing warranties, extended warranties, labor warranties, but it's also important to make sure that whoever you hire, you as the homeowner, has done some sort of research, because oftentimes we find that we lose roofing bids by 500, 1,000, 3,000, any amount of money. And then 2, 4, 5, 6 years later, we get a call back. And it's always the same story of, I'm sorry, I should have hired you. I couldn't afford it. I didn't want to spend the extra money. But either A, I have a new leak, or B, it's the same leak that we had before we decided to replace the roof. And can you please help us? And so, of course, we want to help everybody.
Right.
And it's always a tough situation because as much as we want to help somebody, sometimes we can't get over the fact that it's just poorly installed. And there's no choice but to rip it off and do it again. And so oftentimes you find that when you go with the lowest bid, and I mean, I don't want to say the lowest bid is always the worst one, but most of the time there's a reason why someone is higher up in income as far as how much this is going to cost. And, the lower one, which is $10,000 cheaper. There's a big difference there. Not all shingle manufacturers are the same. Not underlayments are the same. So it's really important that if you're buying a 30-year shingle with the extended warranty, that you as the homeowner know exactly what you're going to get so that there's no surprises in the end. And, if they're using a different underlayment than what they're supposed to, you can catch it and say, hey, I know I'm supposed to have a certainteed underlayment, a Malarkey underlayment, an Owens Corning underlayment, and that's not what is there. So I feel like the more educated homeowners are, the better consumers they can be. And that's kind of what I've always wanted to do, is make sure everybody is educated. So at the end of the day, if I don't get the job, that's okay, because I've given you enough information for you
Right.
to make an informed decision for the roof purchase that you're going to get.
Right. That's awesome too. And I'm telling you, on something you're going to invest so much money
Yeah.
on. I mean, and again, this is something until I met you, I just hadn't really thought about. And a lot of, I to be honest with you, most homeowners don't think about it. It's that,
No.
oh, they're rough, they're all the same, but they're not, like you're
Right.
saying. And again, if you're going to invest that much money to put a roof on your house, especially you plan to stay in there, for several years, you want, and also if you sell the thing, right,
Right.
it's the same thing it's your house is a more value, because now it's like, if somebody was to hire you to come and inspect a roof that was put on improperly, right, now their house isn't going to be, they're going to have to either fix it right
Yeah.
before they sell their house or something like that. And more people are starting to look at the roofs, where in the past, I'm telling you, they just sold houses and
Yeah.
nobody considered that. And then the new homeowner finds out, 1 year in, let's say, because a lot of times 1 year warranty. So let's say 2 years in, right, all of a sudden they got some leaks and they
Yes.
find it was stored improperly. So
Right.
that leads into something that you guys offer, which I want to talk about, is something I haven't heard about before, but you guys offer a maintenance program for roof.
Right.
So why don't you kind of explain how that works?
Sure. It's called the Overhead Care Club. It's $179 a year. That's all we charge. We come out to your property, to your home, twice a year. We'll clean your gutters, we'll clean the roof off, and we'll do a roof inspection. Before, the thought process is, I have a 30-year roof. I never have to worry about my roof again. My roof is a 50-year. I don't have to worry about it. But we created the program the beginning of last year because within the last 5 years, there was quite a bit of what we call pipe flashings. This is the flashing that goes through the pipe, through the roof. A lot of people bought these pipe flashings from the supply shops, and it was all a new manufacturer. So 2017 till about 2022 is when they discovered that these pipe flashings are all going bad. The neoprene around the pipe is basically obliterated, disintegrated. The sun is just beating up on it. And so I'm looking for homeowners who are willing to be able to let us get on the roof so we can see if there is these bad pipe flashings, because what's happening now is water is able to get into these pipe flashings, creating mold in your attic that you may not be aware of it. And so if we could go back and see who has these bad pipe flashings, we can suggest a repair, change them out. But in addition, it allows us to be able to see if the roof was installed correctly, if there's any potential issues that are going to happen. Winter is going to come. Are our gutters clean, or are they going to back up and create a leak? So we found that, one, if we can look at these problems before they turn into a major issue, homeowners are going to be much happier. We had a situation last summer. We had a big torrential downpour in June, and there was this huge house in Eagle, and there was a gutter that was going and feeding straight into a vent. This lady's laundry room completely flooded. Insurance company didn't want to pay because it's considered a flood, but her ceiling caved in, the wall caved in. It's been happening for a long time. And the torrential downpour that came in basically took out the drywall. And that would have been a simple repair. I mean, that would have cost $100 to be able to change that gutter that was going into the vent that was feeding it. Of course, the vent was installed improperly as well. Right. And so that story always stands out to me, because a simple roof inspection could have prevented all that from happening.
Wow. And that's a great deal, especially when you consider you're cleaning out their gutters too, because that's a
yes.
My dad just said something. He spent a whole bunch of money, my mom and dad, on the ones that
gutter guards.
Yeah. And so, because he said he got sick of getting up on that ladder, so that'll save him from that. So what on these the care packages, right? Is it what else do you look at? Just the roofing?
So I think, well, definitely roofing, but I think the most important part of a roofing system is the ventilation. the ventilation has to be proper. It's a balanced attic ventilation. So you got to have the correct amount of intake vents and the correct amount of outtake vents. So when we do the roof inspection, we always ask the customer if they're going to give us an hour of their time. We want to look at their attic because we want to verify that, number one, all of the vents are being pushed through the roof, that nothing is coming inside the attic without an answer to be able to direct air out. We want to make sure that your pipe flashings are correct, like we just talked about. But with the ventilation part of it, it's more, is it balanced? Is there enough attic ventilation? Is the roof going to cook itself prematurely because it's not breathing properly? If this is the case, most of the time after the shingles have basically died from not breathing properly, now it starts eating your plywood. So when you replace this roof, most likely you're going to have to redeck it. And that's thousands of dollars more depending on the size of your roof. At least plywood is lower now in price than what it was a couple of years ago, but it's a big deal. So ventilation is the key to a healthy home.
See, and that's something that's something I've never heard of.
Yep.
And I just is never talked about. But and again, you say roofing systems, and that's why I heard you say that, and that's kind of why it is. It's not just you're putting a roof on there. There's actually a whole system that makes it last 30 years if it's a 30-year warranty, right? But it isn't just the shingles, it's just the whole system.
It's the whole system, right? So we want to make sure that your roof is going to breathe properly forever. And I mean, we also make mistakes. There's lots of roofs that were replaced 10, 15 years ago that now we get better technology, modern shingles, underlayments. And so there's a lot more education now as far as ventilation. So what was acceptable 10 years ago is not acceptable now. And so with my customers, I'm always like, can we get an inspection? Can I come to your house? Can we look? We want to make sure everything is as it should. And if there is a problem, we can catch it before it turns into a major problem where, hey, now it's time to replace. If it's been 5 years, 10 years, and we can catch something, I would much rather do that than, wait until the end and, hey, now you got to replace your roof. So it's a way for us to be able to tell you, hey, there's a potential problem here. It's going to cost you X amount of money down the road, but we can fix it right now for this amount and you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Now, one thing I want to make sure that the listeners know is that you guys do residential, but you also do commercial.
Yes, sir.
So explain you kind of talked about maybe there's the same, I don't know. And so talk about because the home inspections, the care packages, do you also do those for commercial?
Right. So with commercial, it's more tailored based on the size of the roof. The major things with commercials that we're looking for is the dirtiness on the roof. Many new buildings, they get installed with a product called TPO. It's a white single ply membrane. And over time, flat roofs accumulate a lot of debris as well. And building owners really have no idea the amount of damages that can happen by having long-term debris on the roof. And so the debris kind of eats through the particles of the membrane. And so if we keep it clean, make sure that the drains are clean, that roof can last as long as it can, because TPO already doesn't last the term that they put the warranty on. There's so many factors that go into commercial roofing. Ventilation is a huge deal as well. Our value underneath the single ply is a big deal. Now with commercial buildings, we have to verify that there's enough attic in the cavity of the building. And if there isn't, then we have to put rooftop insulation, and that price can go from $10,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 really quick. Wow. So if we can maintenance the homeowners, building owners' property, we can extend the life of their roof. And then there's so many other options that we could do. So if the TPO is failing and it's time to replace, but it's supposed to be a 20-year membrane, there's coating systems that could be done. Not all coating systems are the same either, and they do have to be applied properly. But there's also patching, there's also repair work. And so if we can fix a problem when it's nice and little, that is the best possible solution, because by the time the homeowner really realizes that, hey, this has been leaking for the past 5 years, you're dealing with mold, you're dealing with drywall, you're dealing with a much bigger situation than it could have been by just having some simple maintenance is done.
And then the cost of you get in the commercial, residential too, we're talking about commercial, is I walked into a local national, clothing type store, and
Mhm.
they have trash cans, two different spots where the roof's all leaking.
Yeah,
You need to go talk to them or something. But it goes to show you that, you got to, you have to inspect those things.
you have to deal with it.
And then,
Yeah.
and then with them, I mean, again, let's say a smaller business, that could be catastrophic. I mean, if you have a roof, might put you out of business for a day or two, which could be a bunch of money.
Right.
So, which a lot, again, it goes back into your theme it's preventative maintenance is really
Preventative maintenance, right.
which most people on a roof would just never think about.
And I think the biggest deal of having somebody looking at your roof twice a year, even once a year, is because if we get a huge storm, a hailstorm, a windstorm, some sort of big storm event, then we document it because we're already doing documentation of what it looked like before.
Right.
And then we go out and we can say, hey, you know what, you do have wind damage, your shingles are blown, or hey, your membrane is obliterated because we did have a hailstorm. Now we can go back and show exactly where we were at before and where we're at now. And then I can help you with the insurance process because that's what it's for. So oftentimes you could miss that window by waiting too long.
That's a great case there because, I mean, again, so everything's top notch. The way you're doing stuff is you do before and afters, like inspections, and you can show, hey, we were up here 6 months ago, right?
Mhm.
And this was not here, right? And it makes it a lot easier to then get the insurance to cover it the way they should, versus somebody just saying, hey, windstorm come through, and the insurance company is going to go, well, how do we know that isn't, how do we know that wasn't there?
Existing, right?
Yeah, existing beforehand, and now you're trying to turn it in. So that's like great. Anyway, this has been great information. Anyway, this has been great. It's a good sample. We might even bring you back to kind of talk about some other things, but I think this has been really great because it really helps homeowners and also building owners understand the importance of maintenance. And then I love your care, what do you call it again? Your maintenance program?
Overhead Care Club.
Overhead Care Club. I love that because you're coming out twice a year. You're cleaning the gutters. Now, will you do that for commercial too?
Yeah, so with commercial, again, it's tailored. So we'll go to the property and see how big it is, what is going to benefit the building owner the most. If there's no gutters, then there's no reason to put a gutter packet in. But if he has a large commercial and needs to be cleaned, or maybe they have a lot of HVAC units that get serviced often throughout the years, you got to think these guys are going up there multiple times a year walking. And so maybe walk pads would be a good additional thing for them so that they preserve their membranes. So oftentimes there's a lot of steps that get missed in the beginning of the build because it's just too expensive. We're capped out, we're done. And so being able to add this later on in the process can help that homeowner work better and get a much better return on the investment.
And a building owner, that makes so much sense because, again, you have HVAC systems and maybe it's an older building and you have people walking on your roof over and over again, actually destroying your roof. So now you're adding to your expenses. So anyway, this has been great. Hey, I'll put in the show notes your contact information, but just tell the listeners, like, what would be the best way to reach out to you if they were
best way is website hawaiianbuiltroofing.com, my cell phone 208-284-9506, or the office line 208-214-8808. Either one of those is going to get some way to us and our office staff. And can I just put a note here? Real estate could really benefit from the care packet. Agents, if you are, got a first-time homeowner going into a property, even new construction, you just never know who actually put the roof on. And if you don't know specifically who did it, get a care plan because there's so many issues that could be prevented by just a simple little inspection.
Boy, wouldn't that be a great, I just thought of this, but if you're a realtor and you want to make yourself different, why you're a realtor, why wouldn't you offer, say, hey, what you do is we know that roofs can be a gotcha after the fact. Well, what we're going to do is, as a realtor, I'm going to, we've had it checked once by Hawaiian Built Roofing. And
Mhm.
everything says it looks like it has another 15 years on it, right? Good for you. But hey, let's make sure that we keep that going that way.
Yes,
And for that low cost, kind of
yes,
just bundle it in to what your services are, and it's
right.
kind of a value add to your customers.
It's a
Um,
good peace of mind. I mean,
yeah,
I can't tell you how many people we have on a yearly basis that it's the same story. I just bought this house. The inspector said I had 5 more years. Why is it leaking? And we do
yep,
an inspection and we're like, hey, this has been leaking for 3 years or four
yep,
years. I can
yep,
see the evidence here. And I'm sorry, you need a replacement because X, Y, and Z. And they're always shocked, mad, sad. I'm going to sue somebody. They
yeah.
really want some repercussion and they really can't because they've signed off on all of that. So
Wow.
yes, if you're buying or selling, get a roof inspection individually. Real estate is a whole nother world. We can have another
Yeah,
section on that.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
the more you know, the better you are.
yeah. Awesome. Hey, well, I appreciate it. Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
Scott.
and have a great day.
You too. Have a great day.
See you later.